like every aspiring creative. I can't do this with a straight face. I first came across The Artist's Way in 2019 when, like a good little aspiring member of the New York City institutional elite, I was reading the New York Times. I came across an article called Julia Cameron Wants You to Do Your Morning Pages, and I immediately heeded the call to write 3 handwritten stream of consciousness pages each morning. It's foundational to Julia Cameron's course in higher creativity, The Artist's Way. I was unemployed at the time and didn't yet know I would never be that institutional darling. I thought these morning pages would unlock who I needed to be. The next year, 2020, working a job I hated, I attempted the full 12-week Artist's Way course. I failed at around week 3, and then again in 2024, facing down the specter of unemployment yet again, and at this point cynical to my bones about the world of elite institutions, absolutely determined to strike out on my own, I began The Artist's Way again. So yeah, I just finished week 2 of The Artist's Way, which feels like a huge accomplishment, I have to say. I've started The Artist's Way many times, but I think I've never made it beyond week 3. This time though, I'm really committed and I really think it might work out. I really genuinely think this may be my moment. This may be my year. Also, I feel like I was doing my affirmations today, and I also feel like when I did The Artist's Way for the first couple of times, I kind of skipped the affirmations because I was like, this is stupid. Affirmations aren't going to work for me. I'm not an affirmations kind of person. I don't want to manifest. I don't need to manifest. It's all in my actions, isn't it? It's not in my mindset. It's in my actions. And then I was writing my affirmations. So I was writing stuff I can be a creative writer. I can be more than just a person who writes for nonprofits and stuff, or who writes research papers. I can be a creative writer. I can tell a story. As I'm writing this, and as I'm writing my affirmations 5 times each, and I'm telling myself that creativity should be fun, and that the art I make should be fun, and that when I write something or make a video, it should be from a place of fun and innovation and not perfection. And it's as I'm writing all of this, I was wait. Because when you're writing the affirmations, it's not just you're subconsciously influencing yourself to think a certain way, which I guess you are, but it's you don't feel that in the moment. But I feel what it did though is that as I'm writing these same words over and over again, I start to feel time expanding a little bit. Suddenly I feel okay, I am just in these words right now. I am just taking in their message, but it's not that I'm necessarily acting on their message right now. It is that I am making the time, and I'm seeing how the tasks needed to achieve what I set out in these aspirations, how that just takes time. If that makes any sense, I don't know. This is just where I'm at, week 2 Artist's Way, beginning week 3 tomorrow. And I just feel that's maybe a revelation. And I've had this idea of the need for expansiveness of time, or a sense of expansiveness of time for a while now. And I think that, this is maybe part of that. That to be creative, you can't feel there's just this constant churn of activity and you have to be doing all the time. You need these activities that are just intentionally slowing you down. And I definitely need to intentionally slow down because I am always always on. I am always pushing, moving. And I am becoming so tired of it. Let's fast forward 2 weeks later when a freelance job that had provided the vast majority of my income came to an end, and I thought that this would bring about a continued expansion of my sense of time. It did not. Instead, the pressure to double down on my creative projects intensified. With that came the urge to perfect my execution of The Artist's Way. Maybe, just maybe, I thought, this held the key to creating something great and securing myself for life. I have finally reached week 4 of the Artist's Way, and it is the furthest I have ever gotten in my many times of trying to start the Artist's Way. So I feel like very proud of myself in a way for actually beginning week 4. Week 4 though, I really wanted to talk about week 4 because it's been, I am 3 days in, well, really just 2 days in because day 3 is only at the beginning, but wow. So this is where it starts to get intense. This is where you maybe start to see the change in yourself or something, or that is what's promised. So anyway, the hallmark of week 4 of the Artist's Way, it is the week where you are supposed to recover your sense of integrity, I believe. And one way to do that is that for the entirety of this week, I have to do media deprivation. What that means is that I am not allowed to read. I am not allowed to use social media. I am not allowed to watch TV. I am not allowed to watch movies. I have to be in myself, in my own thoughts all the time. And now, I've done 2 days of this so far. The first day, it was a Sunday. I had the day to basically do whatever I wanted. I was fine. I got on a bus. I took a walk. I didn't miss media at all. However, then yesterday, wow. Okay, so this was the hardest day I've had in a really long time. I woke up. I was not having it. I did not want to be awake. It did not seem fun to me. I just wanted to do nothing. However, I dragged myself out of bed. I did my morning pages. I'm being loyal to Julia Cameron's method. And this was also the first time that my morning pages were angry. Usually my morning pages, my morning stream of consciousness, 3 pages of handwritten writing are often a little bit ambitious, setting out goals for myself, things I want to do, thinking about the projects I'm working on. No, this day I was angry. I was angry at my work situation. I was angry at my life situation. I felt really insecure about the work and life situation, and I just was not having it. And I kept, though, to the media deprivation. I did not pick up my phone. I did not scroll through anything. I stayed focused. I had 3 calls later in the day, which kind of meant that I couldn't really go anywhere. I kind of just had to stay put in the flat until my meetings came around. And this is when it got incredibly challenging, because here I am just alone with my own thoughts in the quiet of the flat waiting for my meetings, and all I wanted to do was pick up my phone and get on TikTok and just drown out the drone of my own dissatisfied thoughts, but I couldn't. So I just had to sit here. I talked to myself a bit. That kind of didn't help. I think it just made me more nervous. And I realized, though, what I think this week 4 of the Artist's Way is supposed to do. When I heard of the concept of media deprivation, I thought, oh, wow, this will be a chance for me to really get creative. I won't be taking in anyone else's ideas and narratives. I will be opened up to creating my own. Amazing. I'll have so much time without media consumption to explore my own stories. No, I think what it's turning out to be instead so far is that I am being forced to confront the role of distraction in my life. I am being forced to confront how much I want to seek distraction to get away from my own negative feelings. I am being forced to do something that I've never done before, which is just be fully in my own thoughts. And turns out all of those thoughts are not just beautiful, creative story thoughts. Some of these thoughts are angry and negative and sad and upset and scared for the future. And I think maybe what this week is really forcing me to do is actually just sit with those thoughts a bit. So it's going to be fun. I realize I haven't done an Artist's Way check-in in quite a while, and that's for a reason, and that is because I'm completely stalled on the Artist's Way. I finished week 4. Like, it was the most difficult week I could have possibly imagined. The media deprivation hit me very hard. I had a very hard time with the silence of no social media, the loneliness that I felt when I realized, oh wow, like I really depend on social media for like a sense of having relationships with people in the world. Yeah. After week 4 though, I intended to do week 5. I read the week 5 chapter. I took my Artist's Way exercise notebook and wrote week 5 at the top of a page, and then wrote nothing else in the entire week. So where we're standing right now, last week should have been week 5, but it very much did not happen. Not at all. I didn't do a single exercise. And now it's Tuesday of what should be my week 6, but is hopefully my week 5 do-over, but I don't know. And like, there are a couple of reasons for this. One is like, yes, of course, I had a very difficult week 4, and did it burn me out a little bit? Maybe. And did the prospect of going on to week 5 make me feel like, oh, okay, another week? Let's see. But also what I think happened was I started posting daily videos in what should have been my week 5. And that also, like, well, first of all, it took up so much time. Like, I'm still doing it and it is still taking basically all of my time. Like, I feel like I just eat, sleep, and breathe. Is that right? Eat, sleep, and breathe videos. I feel like maybe that, I don't know. I feel like there is like a phrase there, but I'm not sure I'm getting it right. But whatever it is, it's like videos that have consumed my life. It's like I'm constantly planning a video or filming a video or editing a video. It never stops. It's basically like I never sleep, and that is kind of true as well, because videos do keep me up at night. I do wake up in the middle of the night just worrying about, oh no, I'm not as far along with tomorrow's video as I should be. Will I be able to stick to my schedule of a video every day? Does this even matter? Yeah, so that was part of it. But then also I was thinking about like this active daily posting and the Artist's Way and how the two really clashed. And it came to me that it almost feels like the video posting every day and the Artist's Way are like fundamentally opposed to each other. There's a real dichotomy between this idea of like being an artist through your own internal authenticity, your self-awareness, and being a creator for the public sphere. And so like what the Artist's Way really has been doing for me, of course, is like asking me to like tap into my deepest desires, to remember what I enjoyed doing as a child, to think about creativity in a way that's very self-informed. Whereas like posting daily videos obviously forces me to project, not introspect. If I introspect too much about my daily videos, I will stop doing it because I'll get very like caught up in, oh, is this the right thing? Is this going to be good? Is this what I want to say? Oh no, and freak out about it and not do anything. And what I want creativity to be is what the Artist's Way encourages me to have. Like, I want to be creative in a way that feels like very fulfilling and very authentic and very much me, and like that taps into like my deepest feelings and like my childhood interests and like what has always excited me throughout my life. But what I feel like I have to be, because like I want to be able to dedicate like sufficient time, significant time to creative projects, what I have to do then is like almost treat it as a job. Like to treat it in a way that I am posting something that I believe will have market relevance. And I think I'm like really grappling with this like paradox of like wanting to make stuff authentically, but also feeling the need to make stuff that will appeal to people, to others, that will have, again, market relevance. And that just, it feels also sometimes so like inauthentic. And I mean, it's not completely, like, I think that I still do try to be pretty authentic in my videos. Like, it's like nothing is fake. I'm not being fake, but am I making exactly what I would want to make? No, No, I would make stuff that feels maybe a little, I don't know, deeper, slower perhaps, that would tap into more emotions or tap into them with more depth than I think I'm able to really do right now because I don't have enough time. And you hear about things coming to people at the right time or change coming when people are ready. And well, I think my timing was wrong. I started The Artist Way because I was curious about what it would do, and I thought it would transform my mindset. I thought it would lead me to be perfectly creatively productive. Emphasis on productive. Now, there's a lot I could say here about the economy and the way that most jobs I've had have stifled my creativity and the way that working for myself also stifled my creativity. For now, though, I'll just say that I think what Julia Cameron wanted me to learn and what I refused to learn because I was too worried about making a creative career for myself is that creativity takes time. Creativity requires moments of boredom. Creativity requires attention to what looks like nothing on the surface. Creativity is like walking by a house I've passed hundreds of times before, looking up for the first time, noticing that it has oval windows at the top, wondering about the rooms with those windows, noticing that the paint is peeling, wondering who built this house, wondering how they chose the oval windows, wondering what view they saw when they looked outside. So what happened? And the truth is, across like all of 2024, but especially in like the final months of 2024, I was just too anxious about money to actually take the time to actually be creative in the way that Julia Cameron wants me to be creative. And I can only hope that 2025 will be different. But I don't know. I don't have the highest of hopes because like my reality remains my reality. I remain not really working for anyone, not really sure where the money's coming from. And it just brings me back to kind of what The Artist's Way is and how like ultimately it is a book that was published in 1992. And it's based on creativity courses that conceivably took place in the 80s. And it just strikes me as like how different a time that probably was, or at least how different a time I imagine it to be, where conceivably the people doing the course back then were people who could afford their lives, who maybe worked jobs that afforded them a little bit of extra time that didn't consume everything in work. They were conceivably people doing this course who had income that kept pace with their cost of living. And they also didn't have the internet vying for every last shred of their time. Like, it just was different. And like, honestly, I wish I lived in this reality, but I don't. And I would love to say that in failing yet again to complete The Artist's Way, I've arrived at some deep insight into why I failed or how I can make it better in the future. But like, truly, I don't have that. All I have is the knowledge that, well, no matter what I do, I seem to have two choices. Either I work for an employer and that consumes all of my time. I like really wish I were the type of person who could come home after a long day at work and work on my creative projects and focus on myself. But the truth is, I'm really not that person. Like every time I've worked a full-time job in my past, every time I've even worked a part-time job, honestly, like I come home from work and I am so drained that I just have nothing left to give. Like I would love to be like, oh, I'm going to come home and I'm going to spend a few hours working on my novel or filming something or editing something or creating something or just taking the time to like stare at a blank wall and see what ideas come to me. But I don't. Instead, all I do is I'm like, oh, I guess I have to like run errands, cook dinner, watch some TV while I cook dinner, and then go to sleep. That's what I do. And so it's like, I either have that option where I work for someone else and I have that financial security and I have no time for myself, or I guess I try to work for myself, but then I'm still beholden to these platforms that I have to post my work on, and I have to be beholden to the time frames that they require of me for posting, the regularity of posting that I need to adhere to in order to keep any kind of like minor momentum going, in the hope that I can then one day make something happen for myself. Really, I guess the only concluding thought I have at the end of this is this system doesn't really work for any kind of creativity. And it certainly doesn't work for doing the artist's way. It is not a system we live in that affords people really excess time to just be themselves, to be bored, to just kind of do nothing sometimes, to let their brains shut down for long enough, not like shutting down completely also, like don't want that in a like non-stimulated way, but like to shut down your thoughts for long enough to have a new idea, to tap into some memory from your past, to do all the things that Julia Cameron urges us to do in the artist's way, to tap into the expansiveness I was talking about. And it's like, I don't even notice how little I'm noticing the world around me day to day. But then I wonder, oh, like, why do I feel so blank and uncreative and uninspired and unmotivated to do even the things that I like say I love to do? Why? Why? Because I don't even notice how little time I have for myself these days. And I know I have had time before. I think the last time I felt that I had time, that I felt that time expanded outward for me, was when I was a student, where I had a lot of leeway in my schedule and I could decide for myself how I wanted to structure my time and organize my days. And like, I don't see why that can't be a model that we take as just a model for how society works, how work works. And yet I don't necessarily see any will for that to happen, because I think a lot of people are still caught in that cycle of wanting to please their jobs or to please whatever platform they post their supposed creative work to. And until we can get out of that cycle where we're trying to please our overlords and give them what they want from us, I don't know how we're ever going to get out of this, but I just find myself increasingly frustrated every year that I finish without completing the artist's way as I have set out to do for so many years. And I just hope that next year will be different. But, you know,